Hi, this is ZvP on Heartbreak Ridge. It's once again an FPVOD on the Neo sauron build and one of its variations. On this map, unlike on Blue Storm, which was the last Neo sauron FPVOD I did, you actually have a gas at your second expansion, so that's a bit like a huge benefit for the Neo sauron start off. On Heartbreak Ridge, it's very likely for them to scout you pretty early. So usually you start off with an overpool or 9 pool or so, just so that your expansions aren't delayed too much or so. Though it is also pretty common in this map against the Protoss to kind of like bring your one of your drones out and hide it up on the cliff a bit, and then when the Protoss brings the probe to your base, that drone comes down from that cliff, which his probe cannot spot, and then builds a hatchery before it can be stopped. That's a bit risky way of playing, but if you're able to do it, then it really pays off, because like 12 hatcheries, so much better start off. Over here, I actually thought that my opponent was Terran, but apparently he picked Protoss in the last moment, so that complicated things a bit. But in that case, like, I can still start off with a 12 pool, which makes it still pretty decent for me. Like, of course, it's not really exactly what I'd want to do and so on. Like, there's a chance that he could really delay my expansions a huge lot by building pylons over to my expansion and so on, kind of like what he's doing over here. But with bad luck, if he wanted to, he could build a pylon to my second expansion as well. And though he loses a bit economically, seeing how he has to build two pylons and possibly not even cancel them, that's he still wins in the end, because he delayed my hatcheries so much, or at least forced me to misplace my hatcheries, which then again makes it almost impossible for me to play a normal Neo sauron way, because I cannot make my 3-hat layer the same way. But over here it wasn't that big of a problem. I was still able to bring my drone over there and start a hatchery. So yes, it's not a good thing obviously, but I was able to manage in this game, though it doesn't always happen, and that's why 12 pull is a very risky way of playing, like against the fast expansion Protoss, who really wants to harass you and take everything, do everything he simply can to annoy you. Well, over here I noticed that he is with 12 pool. One good thing to note is that they will almost always be greedy and think, okay, I see him making Overlord and 3 drones, so I can pretty much freely just make my Nexus first and to not make any cannons and not like skip probes to get my cannons up and so on. But against 12 pool you actually have to skip quite a few probes if you want to have your cannons in time. Over there he kind of forgot it, or wasn't quite aware of it, or didn't realize it at first or so, and I was able to get a couple of links inside. And this is not really a good thing for the Protoss. Like 2 links, if you're really careful with what you do with them and don't get too greedy with them, then you can do a huge amount of damage and really slow him down and his gas gathering and so on. So you just don't get greedy. If it feels like he's totally ready for it, then don't try to get any free hits or something. It's already quite much worth it that you're able to scout him perfectly, slow his economy up a bit and so on. I also see that he's bringing over a Zealot, and seeing how with my scout zergling at his choke. And the last thing I want to do is make a sunken colony. Like a sunken colony, it brings you huge economical disadvantages, like 175 minerals lost, plus the fact that that you even lose a drone. So you really want to avoid sunken colonies as much in the early game as simply possible. Over here, I timed my links a bit badly, since like he was able to sneak his zealot to my main and has the chance of killing a couple of drones, so I really shouldn't have allowed that. I also started my spire elsewhere because he notes that my lair is already finished, but he doesn't see my spire, so my spire could be uh, at like almost any percentage of being done. Of course, he noticed that I made 3 hatcheries before making lair with his probe, but still my spire could be done very quickly, and I don't want to allow him any information that I can simply avoid. I'm also making now more hatcheries, like the most common way. There are a lot of ways really to do Neo sauron, but the most common way is to do 3 hatchery layer, and then making a hydralisk den after you start your 5th hatchery. Over here I was careless once again. I allowed him to bring over another zealot, uh, and it means a lot more harassment from him, and that really wasn't a good thing. Like, I should have noticed that he brought a zealot and made a couple more zerglings and been fine with it. So I just want to avoid whatever damage I can at the moment.